Let's get insights on the latest political developments. Joining us now is political scientist Julio Teehankee of De La Salle University. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Diego. Good morning, Angela. Thanks for having me.
All right, so much to talk about, but let's start off
Yes.
muna with, of course, yung impeachment complaint ni PBBM,
Yes.
which was junked at the committee level. Now, ano po ang basa nyo dito? What does this tell you about the current alignment of the two political, well, you have the Duterte faction, you have the PBBM faction. So what does this tell you?
Well, it was expected, no? The fact that the first impeachment case filed against the president was obviously a weak one. It's a common playbook, no? It was already used by past presidents. For example, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo in the past to inoculate
Yes.
the incumbent, no? So alam naman natin na gano'n ang mangyayari, no? So hindi na obvious yun. Ang medyo kakaiba dito is hinayaan nila na i-introduce at dineliberate nila sa Justice Committee, no? But it's already a foregone conclusion that they will junk the impeachment charges against the president. Ang dapat tutukan, because of course we know this is all part of the logic of the next electoral cycle in 2028. And this first quarter of this year is very critical in order for us to determine whether the palace, no, the executive, will be able to regain the political narrative, or it will end up for the remainder of its term as a lame duck presidency.
It's a good thing you mentioned about yung regaining the narrative, no, or the lame duck
Yes.
stage. It's because what was talked about that could resurrect the pagka-lame duck ng president is having a possible front runner in the presidential race, and talks about the middle ground, the pinks and the yellows were talked about. But if you looked at Laila de Lima, Congressman de Lima's stance yesterday on the second complaint, along with, of course, Congressman Jokno, I don't know what they were playing with. Parang hindi ko mabasa yun, Prof. Ano tingin nyo doon?
Well, it's really it's really a tricky, very strategic. Sometimes it is a mind game, no? Because obviously, the key to 2028 is if they succeed in impeaching the current frontrunner, who is, of course, the vice president, no? And they failed last year, so now they're going to make a go for it again. So at the same time, no, we have now three distinct political factions, no, and this is a result of our midterm elections. And as the result of the midterm elections have revealed, no, the two dominant political factions, the Marcos forces, the Marcos loyalists, and the Duterte supporters, are of course the main contenders. Now the swing votes, no. And this is where the administration is trying to court, no, the support. Itong sinasabi nating liberal progressive forces, or the undecided voters also, no, which constitute more than half of the population. So at this point, medyo lamang ang supporters ni Vice President as shown by the surveys, but at the same time, hindi naman sila totally majority because a large part of the population are still undecided.
That's right,
So
that's
ito yung kinokort ngayon ng administration. And of course, this feeds into the current situation in which even the administration, Malacanang, is open to pushing for reform policies. And this gives us a critical window of opportunity, at least for civil society, academics, and those who are interested in pushing for reforms, to really go out and make sure that this administration will make true to its promise of implementing these reforms. Isa sa mga reforms na ito ay yung gusto ko sanang talakayin sa inyo, itong anti-political dynasty law.
Well, having said that, before we move forward to another topic, still on the impeachment
Yes.
case, we can almost expect the same result. Do you think that way Prof, having said that, because sabi nga nila, it's not yet dead, may pagbobotohan
Yeah.
pa, pero wala naman tayong makikitang outcome na different
Sa plenary.
sa
Yeah.
plenary.
Saan? Doon sa
Dun sa
impeachment?
impeachment,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Foregone conclusion na yan. No? And of course, pwede yung tanong ni Diego regarding bakit ganun ang boto nila Congressman Jokno and Congresswoman De Lima is because, of course, they cannot, they can play the game tactically, but strategically, of course, they cannot go against their own political narrative. No?
Right.
So they may not tactically, they may not want this president to immediately face the accountability question, through the impeachment, because they'd rather have the vice president face it first before
That's right.
the president, right? So,
Of course.
and then it goes, if they support totally the president at this point, it totally goes against their political narrative. So it's a very tricky situation on the part of the liberal progressives. And then on the part naman of the Makabayan bloc, syempre, they will file against both the president and the vice president because that is their political position, that is their ideology, and that's their role, di ba? As a left party, di ba?
Well, on to the topic that you really wanted to talk about, anti-political dynasty.
mainit.
And mainit, of
Yes,
course.
yes. Oo.
What makes you think na this time around it's going to be passed or somehow? Kasi sabi nga nila, like the FOI bill, pinag-uusapan, okay, pero andun lang siya, never pumapasa. But this time around, do you feel that it's going to be passed and yung bill na maipapasa naman ay talagang tama and the ones that we are really looking at?
Yeah. Itong anti-political dynasty bill is part of the unfulfilled mandate of the 1987 Constitution.
Right.
We just commemorated the 39th year of the promulgation of the 1987 Constitution. And this year, we are commemorating the 40th anniversary of the EDSA People Power Revolution. And yet, we have failed to consolidate and deepen our democracy. And part of the reason why is because we have not seen this anti-political dynasty law that was promised in our Constitution. Of course, political families have dominated our elections for the longest time. They have been a part of the national political landscape since the colonial period, since the post-war period, since the martial law period, and post-martial law, post-EDSA period. And the framers of the Constitution believed that it should be addressed. That's the reason why they placed that provision in the Constitution. That's very, very important. But they made the mistake of asking Congress, which is a house of dynasty, both the Senate and the House of Representatives are dominated by dynasty, to define what dynasty is. And now it's been 39 years and that law has not seen the light of day. Anong pagkakaiba ngayon? Given the confluence of event, nung sumabog itong skandalo ng flood control, na-connect ng taong bayan, teka, bakit ba talamak ang korupsyon dito? Ito ay dahil sa political monopoly. Walang accountability ang mga nasa gobyerno at yung mga nahalal dahil pami-pamilya sila. Imagine mo, ang congressman, ang governor, ang mayor, magkakamag-anak, pag naghahapunan sila at nanananghalian, pinag-uusapan nila ang budget. May conflict of interest. Walang accountability. Diba? So, ngayon, mulat na ang tao, nagmamasid sila, at hati ang mga elite, hati ang political factions. No? So, katulad nga ng sabi ko, gusto ngayon ng administrasyon, ng incumbent, mabawi ang tiwala ng taong bayan sa kanila. At gusto rin ng Pangulong Marcos siguro na mag-iwan ng magandang legasiya para sa kanyang administrasyon. So, siyempre, para hindi siya maging lame duck, kailangan itulak niya ito. Ngayon, ang tanong, ang itutulak ba ng Kongreso, ang itutulak ba ng Malacanang ay totoong anti-dynasty o malabnaw lamang. Diyan ngayon papasok ang taong bayan, diyan papasok ang civil society, at diyan po pumapasok itong grupo na aming itinatag, yung Anti-Dynasty Network, na binubuo ng mga professionals, academics, mga kabataan, at ng mga miyembro din ng mga dynasty. At isa sa mga namumuno nito ay ang Pasig Mayor na si Vico Sotto.
And Prof, listening of course to the discussions, no, sabi ng no less than the framer, si Christian Monzon, one of the framers of the Constitution, the real intent was coming off the Marcos era, the real intent was to ensure that something like that wouldn't happen again. But they left it up for definition. Ngayon, ang tanong dito, Prof, based on the intent of the framers of the Constitution versus the intent of the House, what is then the definition of a political dynasty? Sabi ni Attorney Monsod, ang political dynasty, technically, national and local, wala yan. But could you imagine having a senator, tas asawa mo na gusto magsilbi sa barangay level? Hindi pwede dahil senador yung asawa mo.
Yes, so Diego. Kasi ako, 25 years ko nang pinag-aaralan itong issue ng political dynasty. Topic to ng doctoral dissertation ko. So, ang ating definition basically, ano ba talaga ang dinastiya? No? Ang basic definition, ito ay concentration, consolidation, and perpetuation of power in a political family. No? Napaka-basic. Ngayon, throughout the years, kasi, ang original notion natin ng dynasty ay yung tinatawag na teen dynasty. No? Yung sunod-sunod, no? Yung generational by succession. Pero in recent times, no, nagkaroon ng tinatawag na fat dynasty, yung sabay-sabay, yung dambuhala, 5, 6. At ngayon, ang nauuso na yung obese, no, sobrang taba, as much as 32, even 40 members of the same family occupying different positions in government, no? So, yan ang problema ngayon. Madaming obese or fat dynasty na namamayagpag sa politika natin. Ngayon, paano natin aayusin to? No? Ang unang-unang tanong, yung who, sino ba sila? No? Yung relationship by consanguinity or affinity, no? By blood or by in-law. No? Yung up to the second degree ba? No? Or yung maximum demand na fourth degree. Yung second degree, ang first degree kasi yung magulang at anak, second degree kasama yung kapatid, no? Third degree yung tito, tita, tsaka mga pamangkin, pati mga in-laws, at yung fourth hanggang pinsan, no? So, ang karamihan ng mga batas ngayon na ini-introduce sa lower house at sa Senado ay hanggang second degree. So, even the members of the dynasties are open to passing up to the second degree. Pero kung gusto natin ayusin ito, ang maximum demand ng civil society ay hanggang fourth degree, no? So fourth degree of consanguinity. Tapos ang second question natin ay timing, no? Ito ba yung successive, yung sunod-sunod lang, or yung sabay-sabay, yung both, no? Yung teen and fat dynasty. Tapos what, no? Yung national ba o local? Kasi meron na naman bagong classification ng dynasty, yung tinatawag na tall dynasty. Meron ka na sa national, meron ka pa sa local, no? So, kailangan i-address din yan. Pero yung fourth ang pinaka-importante, yung where, no? Kasi pwede nating tignan yung relationship by blood, no? Second degree, yung kung or affinity up to the fourth degree, pero ang lahat ng kapangyarihan ay nagko-concentrate doon sa tinatawag nating cross constituency or cross jurisdiction. Halimbawa, yung governor nga, kamag-anak si mayor, kamag-anak si congressman, di ba? Nakokontrol nila yung area, di ba? Or minsan, 2 distrito, isang probinsya, or minsan national, local. Ang kailangan natin higpitan, itong loophole sa cross constituency at cross jurisdiction. And lastly, pati party list pinasok na ng mga dynasty. No?
That's true.
So, originally, dapat ng party list para sa mga marginalized and underrepresented, pero ngayon ay namamayagpag ang mga dynasty dito. Dapat bawal din sila sa party list.
Parang nagiging stepping stone daw yung party list ang nangyari, no? In essence. Pero, paano po ito? Kasi there are few concerns in pushing for this bill. Sabi nila, baka daw maapektuhan yung fundamental rights ng Pilipino. What are your thoughts on that po?
Okay, kasi hindi rin naman absolute ang karapatan natin, no? Siyempre, 'di ba? Yung ganito kasi 'yan, 'di ba? Halimbawa sa economics, 'di ba? Pag may monopolya, 'di ba? Pag may oligopoly sa langis, sa bigas, sa kamatis, sa bawang, 'di ba? Dehado yung consumers, 'di ba? Dahil wala tayong choice at wala tayong control sa presyo ng bilihin, no? Kaya nagkakaroon ng mga regulation, yung tinatawag na antitrust, anti-monopoly laws, 'di ba? Ganon din sa politika. Pag ang namamayagpag ay iilan pamilya lamang, no? Meron tayong failure of the political market at kailangan ayusin to ng regulation. At itong anti-political dynasty law ay isang form ng pag-regulate. Actually, ang problema natin hindi sa demand ng botante, kundi sa supply ng politiko. Walang supply ng bagong dugo sa politika natin.
No other choice,
Diba?
kumbaga.
Sila na lang,
Yeah.
di ba? And
Oo.
according to studies, 70 to 80% of national and elected officials in this country are dominated by political dynasties.
Right.
Kung gano'n na sitwasyon natin, matatawag pa ba natin demokrasya ito? Di ba hindi na? So kailangan nga natin itong batas nito para ayusin ang demokrasya natin.
Pero sa tingin niyo po, based on the deliberation, I'm sure mahaba-habang discussion pa ito, pero ano yung most likely would, kumbaga sabi nga nila, really defined anti-political dynasty based on the laws that are passed or that are being crafted right now?
Okay.
Yung anti-political dynasty nila, Attorney Nerico Menares o yung kila Sandro Marcos,
okay.
ano yung mas okay at ano yung mas more likely makakapasa based on the dynamics sa Congress at sa Senate? Dahil
Okay.
parehas yung may mga, they belong to political dynasties, most of them.
Ang importante at pagkakaiba nito in the compared to the past, no, halimbawa nung ang pinaka unang batas na inintroduce para dito ay nung immediately after the passage o the promulgation of the Constitution, no, nung 1987, no, si Senator Teofisto Ginggona, no. And then later on, hindi pumasa yun, no? Later on, noong panahon ni President Noynoy Aquino, dahil pangako niya ng kung walang korap, walang mahirap, pinangako niya ito, no? At ito ay umabot hanggang plenary, no? Noong 2013, tapos noong 2016, dahil pinangako ni President Noynoy na ipapasa ito, umabot to hanggang third reading, no? Pero naubusan sila ng panahon sa Senado at hindi ito natalakay. Noong panahon ni President Duterte, nakadikit ang usapin na ito doon sa charter change initiative ni President Duterte. No? Pero ngayon, ang pagkakaiba ay dahil nga dito sa flood control scandal, kailangan ngayon ng administrasyon to win some political points, no, to help support its remaining years in office, no, to legitimize and to regain, no, the trust of the people. Kaya nga sinabi niya, isa sa dalawa actually sa priority bills niya for this Congress is una, itong anti-political dynasty,
Right.
at second, ang pagreforma sa party list system natin, no?
Yun.
So dahil ngayon may utos galing sa Malacanang na seryosohin to, pati ngayon ang Kongreso na dati ay hindi pinakikinggan itong batas na ito ay bukas, no? And I was there last week when the House had its first hearing on the anti-political dynasty law, and you can feel that they're open to hearing and they're open to negotiating a compromise, no? The same in the Senate yesterday. So ngayon mas bukas itong mga politiko, ang mambabatas at ang mga dynasties na magtulak ng workable, possible and practical na anti-dynasty law.
Yun talaga ang, at the end, kaninong version kaya yung papasa ba? Kasi baka mamaya optics lang di ba? Pero before we let you go, very quick lang po, we would like to ask you also yung inyo pong opinion doon sa nangyari sa Senate, yung coup rumors, di ba? Yung Senate coup. Pero hindi naman natuloy, and in fact, baka may plano pa ng term sharing. What are your thoughts on that po?
Yes, of course. As I mentioned earlier, no, the stakes are getting higher, no, during the first quarter of this year, because this first quarter, given the different national and local issues and even geopolitical issues facing the country, the control of the Senate is very important in order to navigate the trajectory towards the 2028 election. No? So, very important kasi yung control ng Senate dahil nga sa impeachment. No?
Right.
Kung matutuloy ang impeachment against the Vice President, importante yan. Tapos, syempre, alam naman natin na umiinit din ang usapin geopolitical nitong brouhaha with China, no? And yung pagtanggal kay Senator Amy Marcos as chair of the Foreign Relations Committee ng Senado, which is an important platform for whatever propaganda no they want to peddle to the public as regards China, no. So yun ang very important trigger, no. And of course yung sa flood control, dahil nga nabanggit doon sa report ng Blue Ribbon Committee na makakasuhan ang 3 kabaro nilang senador. Syempre, barka-barkada rin yan, sama-samahan. So siguro baka, oy, huwag nyo namang apihin yan, kasama natin yan. So may ganong klaseng logic din doon. No? Pero in the end, nangibabaw din naman yung reason at ang kanilang concern for higher purpose sa national issues at sa bansa natin.
Alright, as always, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras and
Thank
of course
you.
for your
Thank you.
insights. Hopeful,
Thank you.
yeah, we hope to see you again, political scientist
Yes.
Julio Tehanqui of De La Salle University. Thank you so much.